Hey everyone, this is Manny Faces, producer and host of Newsbeat, where we meld journalism and hip-hop to tackle the most pressing social justice issues of our day. Our inaugural podcast in January 2017 was titled MLK Jr. Unfinished Business, and it took an in-depth look past the pioneering civil rights leader's oft-quoted historical epitaph of "I have a dream" to reintroduce what he considered to be his lasting legacy, the Poor People's Campaign, uniting all of America's disenfranchised, regardless of race, to culminate in an unprecedented march on Washington and encampment on the National Mall to demand an economic Bill of Rights. It was that initiative, and not the four syllables for which he's widely remembered, that likely resulted in his murder in 1968. That debut episode featured powerful insights from Pastor Roger C. Williams of the First Baptist Church of Glen Cove, New York, which were punctuated by passionate original rap verses from our artist in residence, hip-hop recording artist Silent Night. Now, since so much of what Dr. King preached more than 50 years ago is still pertinent today, perhaps even more so, we revisit his timeless legacy annually. And last year even updated this episode with illuminating perspectives from Lawrence Larry Ham, a lifelong activist and chairman of the Newark, New Jersey-based People's Organization for Progress. Dubbed MLK, What They Won't Teach in School, here it is once again, in commemoration of what would have been Dr. King's 90th birthday. This is MLK, What They Won't Teach in School.
I have a dream. I have a dream.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
Roger C. Williams, pastor, First Baptist Church.
As the pastor of a Baptist church, I'm often pressed into service by local officials to participate in a day of remembrance for the late Dr. King. Invariably, the day's events invoke the most famous of his words.
I have a dream.
It seems the entire legacy of this man has been distilled into these four words, packaged and spoon-fed to the public. But this was merely a moment in time in an evolution of thought. It in no way embodies the complexities of the man or the movements he inspired. And we're doing a disservice to our children by striking a single note over and over again, expecting them to hear the entire symphony.
I have a dream.
If we want to truly honor the legacy and works of Dr. King, we must certainly acknowledge the March on Washington as a high point in the civil rights movement, as it precipitated the passage of some important reforms in our nation. Increasingly, however, Dr. King became disillusioned with the political process and what he saw as an organized effort to marginalize people of color around the world and to pit the working class against itself by provoking racial discord. The former is illustrated by his vehement and unpopular opposition to the Vietnam War. The latter can be explained by what is known as the Southern Strategy.
I have a dream.
This was merely a moment in time in an evolution of thought.
Essentially, by the end of his life, Dr. King was speaking more often about the tendencies of America to combat communism, but only aggressively so against nations of brown people. The government responded in kind by branding him a communist, extensively surveilling him and attempting to blackmail him. He was also vocal about economic issues and what he believed to be an assault on the poor people, instead of poverty itself, and a subversive campaign to turn members of the white working class population against black workers, particularly in the South. In fact, the last movement he was to carry forth was called the Poor People's Campaign. This, he believed, would truly be his legacy. More than likely, it was this that got him killed.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm, Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
A true legacy. The movement, the memory, epitome of truth, the power, they couldn't let them be. Statues now, before it was the effigy, the end of Jim Crow, enter the SCLC. Non-violent, but nothing close to timid. Master of the boycott, protest, and sit-ins. A noble man who even won the Peace Prize. Yet they threw him in the cell almost 30 times. 3 letters and you know who it is. They try to boil him down in just 4 words. Too simplistic. They hunted him down, labeled him a communist. Now they applaud after they whitewashed it, a champion, a man for all people. Uncle Sam ain't want him to branch out. He reached too far and he pushed too hard. A red alert, so they did what empires do and killed the messenger.
Larry Hamm, Chairman, People's Organization for Progress.
You know, like the young people,